Welcome to the Tuscarawas County Anti-Drug Coalition podcast, bringing you open and honest conversations about resources in Tuscarawas County. Now here's your host, Jodi Salvo.
Hi, this is Jodi Salvo. Welcome to another Tuscarawas County Anti-Drug Coalition podcast. I have two really special guests today, and we're going to be talking about just some really neat efforts that are going on in the Twin City area. And we'll start with Diana Smith. Diana.
Hi, I'm Diane Smith. I'm with the Tuscarawas County Anti-Drug Coalition. I'm the coordinator of the 922 Initiative Project Committee in the Uriksville-Denison area. And I'm also a member of the Addiction Task Force.
Nice. And we have Teri Edwards. Teri, go ahead and tell us about yourself.
I'm Teri Edwards. I'm the executive director of the Twin City Chamber of Commerce.
Nice. Listen, I'm really glad you both are with us today. First of all, I know you both well enough to know you have a passion for the Denison-Uriksville area, for the community, for our young people, and clearly that's something that is very dear to my heart. So I want to just open it up today and talk a little bit about some of the efforts going on in the Twin City area. Diane, you mentioned the Addiction Task Force. You mentioned the 922 initiative that's happening down there. So I think let's start just kind of explaining what those two entities are and some of the work they're doing, and then we'll get into some of the nuts and bolts of some just hands-on events and activities and initiatives that are happening in the Twin City area.
Okay. I'm going to start off with the 922 initiative is a committee that is a joint effort from the Tuscarawas County Anti-Drug Coalition and the Addiction Task Force, which was formerly our Opiate Task Force. And the reason that we had started the 922 initiative is because the Addiction Task Force had realized that the Uriksville-Denison area was a very big hot spot for drug overdoses and overdose deaths in Tuscarawas County. So what we wanted to do was try to figure out something that we could do as committees to bring help to the Twin City areas. So we started the 922 Initiative Committee. The committee is composed of professionals right now. We have professionals from Community Health Department, Twin City Hospital.
Local treatment agencies.
Yep, treatment agencies. And I had just went to council the other night and introduced our committee. And what we want to do is we want to help our law enforcement and our mayors and our business owners down there. What can we do to help them? Not, okay, we're here to do this, this, and this, but we want to know what they need, and we want to help supply what they need.
Okay. Diane, just wonderful to hear about the efforts of the 922 initiative, really mobilizing a community to employ the protective factors you need to protect a community. So that's awesome. And Teri, I know you're also very active in the 922 initiative as well.
Right. One of the things I think I really like about what this committee is doing is they're getting input from the community, from the law enforcement, from the mayors. They're not just trying to come in and say, this is what we're going to do, and throwing a blanket out there. They're saying, we want to help. Tell us what we can do to help.
Wonderful. Yep. And I think that's the difference maker when you work with communities, because each community is different. The solution in each community is different. The protective factors in each community is different. And I love, I get the privilege of working with Diane every day, and she's from the Twin City area. So she absolutely is in touch with, these are some of the challenges. And man, here are the protective factors. And I hear her name them all the time. I know Teri Edwards is a name I hear probably every day. I know you guys are always in contact, really connecting the business community and, really leveraging the strength of the business community and the community leaders, the elected officials. How do we really take that leadership and leverage it, that we can put those protective factors in a community. So that's pretty awesome. Excited about that. With that being said, let's just talk about, today we were going to talk about a project that's kind of happening through the 922 initiative to protect young people. And I'm looking on the table because I see the flyer right now. It's called the Safe Zone. Diane, what's that all about?
The Safe Zone started because, let me back up a little bit. I do prevention and life skill building in the school buildings, and I am in Claymont City Schools. I've been there for quite a few years now, and we start in 4th grade. And the first,
that's the Taking the Schools program?
Taking It to the Schools program. And the first thing that we talk about with the kids is communication and why it's so important that you communicate your feelings, because you don't want those feelings to ball up. And we compare it to like rocks. And we tell the kids, the more feelings you have inside of you is like this bag of rocks. The more rocks, what happens? It gets heavier. Well, what parent don't want their kid's handprint? So I thought it would be neat to have each kid draw their handprint. And after they draw their handprint, they have to put 5 people on their handprint that they feel safe to talk to. And we call that our safe person. And we would suggest to the kids that the safe person be at least 18. We would like 21. So that is the guiding factor. We want someone that's an adult that is going to help the kids make proper decisions. One day in class, I had a little boy say, I have nobody. I cannot fill my handprint out. And it hit me. It struck really in my heart. And I'm like, what do you mean? I said, you have all kinds of safe people. And the one thing that I do, I always make every kid put a police officer, because no matter what, that police officer is a safe person for every kid everywhere. And that little boy looked at me and he says, I can't do that because I'm not allowed to talk to the police officers. He says, if I do, I'll get taken away. So we switched it from a police officer to, okay, what about your teachers? Nope, I can't talk to them either because they'll call the police officer. So it took us a whole day, a whole visit to actually get this kid to have 5 people, to trust that the teachers aren't there to report him to the cops. So I had one kid, they looked at me and they's like, but Mrs. D, what do we do in the summertime when the teachers aren't in school? If we put our teachers and our coaches and our guidance counselor, who do we talk to in the summertime if we can't talk to mom and dad? That's where the Safe Zone project came up. I want the kids of the Twin City area to know people care. It might not just be your parents or your grandparents or your teachers, but you have people in the community that care. And Teri was my first guinea pig on this. First call. I called Teri and I'm like, what do you think of this? Do you think this is something the businesses would jump on? And she instantly said, I'll be the first one.
Wonderful.
So that's where the Safe Zone. And we know it's working. I've gotten emails. I've gotten phone calls, parents saying, hey, the kids have seen this and they've explained it to me. So I know they listen and I know they're looking for them.
Wonderful. So I'm just going to fill in a little bit on Taking the Schools. We've talked about Taking the Schools on previous podcasts, but probably about a year ago. So Taking the Schools comes through OhioGuidestone prevention staff. And the key concept of effective prevention, evidence-based prevention, says there's kind of 8 key concepts that kids need to understand to really put in those protective factors to prevent substance use, to reduce mental health challenges. And there are things such as decision-making, self-esteem,
proper ways to say no.
Refusal skills. But one of them is this communication, having safe people in your lives that you can turn to. And for parents, I think in addition to the Safe Zone project in the Twin City area, it's just really important to really have conversations with your young people. Who can you talk to if you cannot talk to me about a particular topic? Because even in the best home life situations, young people might be struggling with issues and they might be afraid to tell their parents. I think kids really have this internal desire to protect their parents. So if they're being bullied or they're being victimized, sometimes they're not going to tell you, even if that home life is great. So encouraging young people to pre-think through, who else can I talk to? Whether that's a grandparent, an aunt, your best friend's parents. But I love hearing Diane's heart. She's working with students who are saying, yeah, I don't have anyone. And just this particular initiative saying, look, if you can't think of anybody and you see this hand, we have people in our community that truly care, you know. So I think it's amazing. And I love the idea that it's being infused through the business community, you know. So just describe what that looks like in the Twin City area.
We have 5 places right now. And I do want to express that these handprints will never, ever be in a private home window. So if you ever see a handprint in a private home window, that is not part of our initiative. I don't want the kids to see handprints in windows and thinking, oh, it's a safe place, and it might not be. So the focus of the safe zone is strictly in businesses in the Twin City area, no homes. So I want to make sure that is out there.
So businesses and community organizations,
Yes.
libraries, stuff like that as well.
Yeah, we have them in the Chamber's office right now, Yerricksville and Denison Police Department, City Hall, Fire Department, they have them hanging up. Both libraries, Yerricksville, Denison Library has them. The Pen Shop Drop is a new business in town. She has them. She's very passionate on helping the kids, and she jumped right on board. So little by little, we're putting more out there, but I'm working closely with law enforcement because I want to make sure that they agree that that business is a proper business.
Okay. I love that you clarified not in a personal home. So parents, if you're having conversations with your young people, we would really encourage you to encourage your young people to know what this handprint looks like, where those safe designations are, but clearly say not in a personal home, just because unfortunately we live in a pretty wacky world and we don't want any abuse of this particular program. Well, neat. So that's pretty awesome. I just kind of want to ask you, there's clearly other efforts going on in the Twin City area, and I know you're both involved with the Railroad Festival as well. So let's talk about that also.
I'm going to let Teri talk because when I had talked with Teri, I had made a couple comments about wanting to give things away at the festival. We didn't know how to do it, and I had came across the grant for bicycle helmets, and Teri jumped in. Saved the day.
Nice.
I just sent a couple emails, but no, it is a wonderful thing. Diana found a grant called Put a Lid on It, and it's promoting bicycle safety and giving helmets away. The grant provided helmets that we could give away, and we're actually going to do that the first night of the Railroad Festival at their Safety and Resources Day.
So when is the Railroad Festival? Just
June 2nd through the 5th.
Yay.
Right.
This is really like one of the first real community events, I think, in the Tuscarawas County, right? There's not
Canal
that-
Days.
Canal Days.
Canal
yeah,
Days
yeah,
is first,
you are
and then
right.
ours is right after.
Yep, you are right. Okay.
But we'll have a table set up there with the bicycle helmets, and kids can come. There's no cost for them. We're just going to give them away and, teach them how to wear them, because a lot of times around town I see the kids with them. They're either not even strapped or they're
Flapping
flopping
around. Yeah.
Talk to them a little bit about this is how you have to wear it to have the most safety factor with it. But, it was great when we got the email back and said, yes, we're going to award those to you. And now we get to give them away.
72,
I think 72 of them to give away. So if you need a new bicycle helmet, come down to the Railroad Festival.
Wonderful. So the Railroad Festival is what days?
June 2nd. It's Wednesday through
Saturday.
So you mentioned Resource and Safety Day there. So
And
tell us
that
about
is-
that.
The Resource and Safety Day is going to be held the very first day of the festival. What we have done as a 922 committee, we wanted to make sure that the citizens of the Twin Cities knew what resources was out there. So we have contacted not just treatment agencies. We've contacted agencies that do transportation, the food banks, any agency that can give help, T4C, United Way. They help with utility bills. They help with gas vouchers. A lot of people don't know that help's out there. So as a committee, we wanted to bring them resources to the Twin Cities. So on June 2nd, and that's the only night it'll be there, and on the side street of Denison between City Hall and the Lanning Building, all the resources will be set up on that side street for people to come to. What's nice is if you come and see our resource table, you will get a punch card. And if you visit every resource table, you can put that punch card in a basket for a prize.
Nice.
Because each table is going to make a basket or bring a gift card or something. So we encourage people to come out just to talk, see what helps out there.
Wonderful. And I'm privy to a little bit of this information just because I get to share an office with Diane. But just promoting the resources, having that ability to have giveaways or activities at the booth on canal days, or why did I say canal days? Railroad days, I think is super helpful. Some of the work coming out of the 922 initiative that to protect a community members need to know that there's resources available. And I think that's super exciting that you're really promoting those resources.
Well, one of the biggest things is we want the citizens of the Twin Cities to understand we're not there to judge. We are not judging you. We're not judging your family. We're here to help you. And in order for us to help you, you need to come to us so we can help you. Tell us what you need. And I want people to see faces. If they call an agency, I want them to see that face with that agency and say, okay, I talked to them. I felt comfortable with them.
Nice.
Well, and what's nice about that kind of setup where they can just go along table to table, if they have to go into a place and pick things up, I think it goes in with that, well, somebody might see me pick that up and they're going to know that I need help, because the majority of people that really need help won't ask for it.
Yeah.
And to be able to just kind of go along and say, oh, okay, well, I'm just picking stuff up from every table. Nobody's going to really know what I'm picking up. That kind of anonymity is very helpful in getting that information out there, because then they don't feel like people are, what are they taking? What do they need help with?
Right.
So I think it makes them feel a lot more comfortable.
Wonderful. And at the end of the day, we all need help. So, I mean,
absolutely.
Just to make it as easy as possible, just to pick up the resources, know they're there, know that we have a community of community leaders that are trying to say, hey, like, we're all in this together. Let's try to figure out what we need. Yep.
Right.
We care. And we all are, in one way or another, we're experiencing it. Someone somewhere is experiencing addiction in their family. I experience it. It's very personal to me. And you're not alone.
Yeah.
You're not alone. The best thing ever is down at our resource table, OhioGuidestones and the Adams Board together has a peer support person, and we have a new Hope line number. It's a 1-number access line, and both of those ladies are going to be there so people can see who they are. And no, Kathy has went through it. Kathy is a recovering, she's a peer support person. So she knows what you're going through, and she can talk to you, and she understands. So both of those ladies will be there.
And I think that's huge, because I know back when this all first started, kind of with the addiction does not discriminate, the big thing, and I do think it is moving forward in the right direction, taking the stigma away. Like you just said, everybody's family, that 6 degrees of Kevin Baker or whatever, Bacon.
Yeah.
I don't want to make that analogy with addiction, but we all, either in our families or know somebody. It's not that, oh, I heard so-and-so's cousin who's married to so-and-so's brother. It's here.
Right.
It's in our families. It's in our homes. It's in our community. And taking that stigma away, and being able to talk to somebody that doesn't just say, man, I can imagine what that's like. Well, no, I can't, but she can.
Right.
She lived it. She does it. And I think that's a big thing for people to be able to really look in somebody's eyes and say, yeah, you do. You do know what I'm going through. And to filter down to the kids, we kind of talked about this before the podcast. So many times kids are the ones that have to keep the family secret. Mm-hmm. And I know in my own family, we've always tried to teach our kids and our grandkids, we don't keep secrets. We keep surprises. Yeah. Surprises are good things to not tell somebody. If I know you're having a birthday party come up, I'm going to keep the surprise. But typically it's, you don't tell what we do. You don't talk to the police. That's a secret. And secrets hurt. And secrets can be bad. And secrets have consequences that aren't good. Yeah. So that's why we always said, we keep surprises. And I'm even teaching my grandkids that. But a lot of times going back to the who can I talk to, I can't talk to mom and dad. I can't talk to grandma, because sometimes grandma knows, sometimes grandma doesn't. but being able to say to the kids, you don't have to have that burden. That doesn't need to fall on your shoulders. Don't put big people things on little people's shoulders. Yeah. And for them to know that, yeah, I can talk to somebody. There might be some consequences, but in the end, it's the right thing to do.
Right.
And the safe zone isn't just for trouble either. I don't want kids to think, oh, I only have to go in there if something's wrong. I told all of the kids, if you see Miss D in the store, you see Miss D at the races. I see a lot of the kids at motocross races. Come up to me. Talk to me. Tell me what you did over the weekend. Tell me what exciting thing happened. Because how many kids, oh, I won a baseball game, but mom and dad didn't go. Who do I tell? I'm so excited I hit that winning ball. You're going by the library and that's built up inside of you. Walk in and tell Donna or her staff. Say, hey, guess what happened to me? They're going to listen. They're going to be just as excited as I would be.
I love that conversation. And I just want to say to viewers, there's some core concepts we know that really help young people make healthy life decisions and choices. And one of that is connection with a community. So connection with those safe people in their lives, but connection to the community is that other one. So again, if a young person is in a home and things are crumbling around them, but yet they know this community values me, whether it's the librarian, the person at the grocery store, when I'm walking downtown, if it is police, if it's EMS, coaches, teachers, whatever, just that accountability that someone cares, it's a game changer. So I love the idea of just a community rallying around our young people to say, look, here's a safe zone. Come talk to us. Like, we want to know you. We want to encourage you. Yep. And I'm even going to say, because we've just had the privilege of being at Claymont Junior High the last month, the middle school has just opened up the doors to have staff come in from OhioGuidestone, Tuscarawas County Health Department, the ESC, just to talk to the young people around vaping. So I think there's a lot of efforts to connect with young people and have meaningful conversations about real issues with the understanding the more that we invest in our young people, especially around topics that might be difficult to have conversations around, and then encouraging them to have more conversations with adults. Those are those protective factors we need to put in place to help kids make healthy, informed life choices.
And, just by the kids walking in, maybe one walks in to talk to Teri about what they did over the weekend. By them getting comfortable at a young age talking to an adult, when they get older and they have to have someone to answer questions for them, they're not going to be as scared.
Yeah.
And we do at the Anti-Drug Coalition, we have our little key cards, our talking point key cards. They're real fun. I encourage every parent with younger kids, even up into the junior high, because some of the questions are funny. Pick up a key card and just flip through if you're driving to Walmart. Ask the kids some of those questions. There's funny ones. There's might be a couple serious ones, but get that line of communication starting with your kids.
Nice.
Because the more you talk, the easier it's going to be for them.
So those cards, will they be at the Railroad Festival?
They will be at the Railroad Festival.
Cool deal. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
Teri, as you as a parent and a grandparent, because I had the privilege of having one of your grandkids this year, what do you think about the Safe Zone project and us going into the schools from your grandkids' point of view?
Oh, I know that my granddaughter loved it. She would come home and tell us about it because I pick my grandkids up 3 to 4 days a week after school. And I know she really loved it. And she would tell us some of the things you worked on. She talked about doing her handprint, and she thought that was kind of cool and got to put people's names on there. And she actually saw the one in my window.
Oh, nice.
And she said to me, hey, I saw that you've got the Safe Zone over at your office, because they all know where I work. And she thought that was really cool. And like you said, getting them comfortable in talking is a huge thing. And, like you just said, in the car, when I pick them up from school, and I know my girls did it and we even did it. What'd you do in school today? Nothing. So I try to make it funny. I said, you didn't go on a dinosaur hunt today? You didn't find a I joke with them a little bit. And then they'll lead into, even just say, what'd you eat for lunch? Who'd you sit with?
Yep.
What was the best part of your day? What was the worst part of your day? You can kind of ferret a little bit of information out of them that way. And then it just opens that door a little bit more, that if they know, not only can I come in and share, hey, I won the ball game last night, or, this happened at home. It's that way to get in there and just start talking.
Yep.
And that's so important, because a lot of times if you just let them talk and really don't ask, they'll tell you way more than you were ready to know.
Or one thing that we learned, and be honest with your kids.
Yes.
Some of those questions are going to be hard.
Yeah.
It really is. But the more you're honest, the more they're going to trust you, and the more they're going to talk to you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I know growing up in our house with our girls, and I had a friend that thought this was odd. I don't remember the exact situation, but I apologized to one of my daughters because I was in the wrong.
Yeah.
And they're like, you told your daughter you were sorry? Yeah. I was the one that was wrong.
Yep.
And, it's important for kids to see that adults don't know it all.
Yeah.
We're doing just as good as a job we can along with them. And for them to see that, okay, they make mistakes, but they own up to it. My dad always called that owning up, and you always have to own up to your mistakes. Sometimes it's really, really hard to do that, but the trust you get back, that bond that you build, is just absolutely wonderful.
One more thing I would like to say, going back to the community and how much our community cares. For anyone out there that, I'm not sure if you understand what, or even know what our doTERRA bags are, which is a medication disposal bag. You don't have to come to Philly to get those. Teri has them in her office. No questions asked. They're free of charge. You can walk into the chamber. But that's what we have down there. We have a village that cares.
Yeah.
We have a village that wants to help. And one of the biggest things that we just got down there is Narcan. I know people have their own opinion of Narcan. My opinion is I'm not God. If I have the chance to save someone, I'm going to save them.
Yeah.
I have access to Narcan 24/7 through my work. So someone in the Twin City areas can get a hold of me. The local authorities know I can get Narcan 24/7. So if someone in the Twin City area needs Narcan, please reach out to me.
Yep.
No questions asked.
And I think a lot of the work of the 922 initiative is to decrease stigma and create awareness around addiction. And at the end of the day, it is hard to understand addiction if you've not gone through it, or if you don't have a direct loved one that has gone through addiction or struggled with addiction. But once you understand addiction a little bit more, how the brain works, you realize no one wants to struggle with addiction. No one intentionally sets out to become addicted. And at the end of the day, somebody struggling with addiction is somebody's child, parent, loved one, spouse. And when you put it in those terms, this is somebody's someone with a value, created with a purpose. And using drug reversal medication like naloxone, the only chance to get someone well and whole and healthy again is to keep them alive, to get them to treatment. Treatment's not always effective the first time. So it is vitally important just to kind of put in different terms. This is somebody's someone with purpose and value. They're just struggling with addiction. So we need to keep them alive so we can continue to invest in them, because we know treatment is effective. We know recovery absolutely happens. And we just need to create those opportunities to have more time to get people through that recovery process.
And with the Narcan, it's not just for your constant repeat person. It could be somebody's very first time.
Absolutely.
And they get something bad. Narcan will not hurt you. You can administer it to someone, and if it wasn't an OD, it's not going to hurt them.
Yeah.
It's only going to help them. And the one thing that I always tell all of my students is, you don't hate the person that has the addiction problem. You hate the monster that's inside of them that's controlling their life.
Yeah.
And even as adults, we need to remember that. My brother was an addict. My brother passed. And did I hate my brother? No, I did not. I loved him to the day he died, and I still love him. I hated the monster that he fought on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And if more people could think of the addiction as a monster instead of an addiction, they'll understand it a little bit more, because that's what's controlling that body, is that monster, not them.
Yeah. Very good. Anything else we want to add today?
I don't think so.
Okay, so listen, on a wrap up, Railroad Festival, the Resource and Safety Fair is June 2nd. What time?
5 o'clock. Well, 5:30, the Midway opens.
So opportunity to win prizes, to get free bike helmets, to grab some resources, and have fun while you're down there for the evening.
Absolutely.
And eat, because that's what I'm going for.
Absolutely. I love food trucks, so I'll be there. Oh, yeah. I don't know if I will be there now that I say that.
Jodi always goes on vacation when we have events, just so everybody knows.
Well, I think we should just go and eat all the good food truck food, and we'll send her pictures.
There you go. Okay, sounds good.
This girl eats.
And then remember, if you see the safety zone, know what it's about, and have conversations with your young people about it, and just really encourage our young people to find those trusted adults, to bond with the community, know that people care out there. And I just want to thank both of you for the work you're doing, for your heart, for your passion for our young people, for our communities. It makes a difference. It absolutely does. So I thank you guys.
I can be honest and say I probably wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for Teri. She's the one that
I actually remember when you two first connected. So
yep, she connected me to you, and look at us now, 5 years later.
Isn't that fun? Well, listen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, listeners, and we'll catch you next week.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Tuscarawas County Anti-Drug Coalition podcast. Please follow us on Facebook and visit our website at adctusk.org.